Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield. I'm the Get Fit Guy, and in today's episode, you're going to learn how to strip over 7 inches of fat off your waist by using the wilderness. So, I don't think it's any secret that I'm a big fan of the outdoors. After all, I live in the inland Northwest, which is a fishing, hunting, skiing, hiking, mountain biking, camping, and all-around wilderness mecca. So you can imagine, I was pretty pleased to see the results of a recent study called Influence of a 10-Day Mimic of Our Ancient Lifestyle on Anthropometrics and Parameters of Metabolism and Inflammation. Now, I realize that may sound like a mouthful of propeller hat nerdy fitness geek speak, but in fact, the study has some very important instructions for how you can quickly strip over 7 inches of fat off your waist, even if you don't live in the wilderness. Let's jump in and see what we can learn, shall we? So in this study, each of the participants embarked upon 3 separate 10-day summer trips through the Spanish Pyrenees in order to experience the impact of ancient lifestyle on their own health and well-being. More specifically, they lived outdoors and walked from one source of water to another. Food was provided by the researchers who organized the study, and participants were assisted with forest guards, our Western version of a forest ranger. The diet of each participant was prescribed based on average daily food intake by the traditionally living Hadzabe, also known as the Hazda people in Tanzania. Now, that last part may make you want to run away and quit listening, but in addition to plenty of outdoor fresh air and ancestral foods, the use of mobile phones and other electronic devices was not allowed. Now, let's delve into a few of the nitty-gritty details here. Number 1, exercise. There were daily walking trips from waterhole to waterhole with an average walking distance of about 8 to 9 miles a day. They carried their own backpacks with an average weight of about 17 pounds, and in addition, some manual work was done to clean mountain trails, as agreed upon with the Catalan government in the area where the study took place. Number 2, food and water. They consumed 2 meals daily. The first meal was provided about halfway through the walk, and the second meal upon arrival at their camping site. Now, animals like ducks and chickens, turkeys, rabbits, and fish were delivered and prepared by the participants. Fish were caught with nets in the nearby river, and other foods consisted primarily of things like seeds, nuts, berries, fresh fruits, and tubers like carrots and sweet potatoes. Lots of hydration and good drinking behavior was recommended by drinking as much as possible, up to satiety, after reaching a waterhole, which contained non-chlorinated drinking water. Now, number 3 was sleep. The participants slept outside in sleeping bags on small inflatable mattresses, generally going to bed at sundown and rising at sunup. The night temperatures got pretty cool and varied from about 50 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So, what happened? Well, the trip caused huge decreases in body weight and BMI, or body mass index, hip circumference, waist circumference, and waist-to-hip ratio, including over 7 inches of fat stripped off the waistline of some participants. Researchers also found decreases in blood glucose, insulin, the inflammatory marker HOMA-IR, the 3-month snapshot of blood glucose levels, HbA1c, triglycerides, total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and triglyceride to HDL cholesterol ratio. Wow. Now, here are a few quick and dirty tips you can take away from this study. Number 1, engage in low-level physical activity all day long. The walking and small amounts of manual work provided these participants the stimulus many of us lack. These folks weren't doing CrossFit or triathlons or obstacle races or bodybuilding. They were just walking and doing some light manual labor, similar to gardening or working in the yard. If you're stuck in the office, you can replicate this same effect in your office, and what I'm going to do is over at Quick and Dirty Tips, in the show notes to this episode number 294, I am going to put a link to some of my Get Fit Guy episodes on staying fit in your office. Now, number 2 is intermittent fasting. Contrary to popular belief, 2 meals a day isn't going to suppress your metabolism or cause starvation syndrome, and instead actually seems to cause you to experience light hunger and all the beneficial hormone releases this causes, including upregulation of enzymes responsible for fat loss and mitochondrial density, resulting in superior fitness. Number 3, plenty of clean water intake. Participants certainly were experiencing thirst, and incidentally, that's been shown to cause the release of another anti-inflammatory molecule called oxytocin. But when they got to the water stations, they were drinking as much as possible of good, clean water without chlorine and other chemicals. So drink good, filtered water. Now, number 4 is to sleep naturally. Participants got plenty of sleep and limited artificial light exposure at night, along with natural sun exposure in the morning. They weren't staying up late at night watching Netflix or playing on their phones, which they didn't have, nor were they rising early in the morning to the sound of a blaring alarm clock, which they also didn't have. Number 5 was temperature. Participants experienced both slightly uncomfortable heat during the day, but guess what? That actually causes the body to burn calories, and so does uncomfortable cold during the night. And there are plenty of other benefits of fluctuating temperature that you can read about in my article on cold thermogenesis, and I'll put a link to that over in the show notes at quickanddirtytips.com too. So that's it. Do low-level physical activity all day long, limit your snacking, drink lots of good clean water, sleep naturally, and don't be afraid to get hot or get cold. With these simple tips, you don't need a trendy diet plan or a hardcore exercise program to lose fat fast. Now, if you have questions, comments, or feedback about how to strip 7 inches of fat off your waist with the wilderness, you can join the conversation over at facebook.com/getfitguy. That's facebook.com/getfitguy. And until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.